Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Sunday weekend. Um, I just want to ask something really real because last Thursday I was hosting and chairing the Women in Leadership Asia conference in. It was a virtual conference. It was supposed to be in Singapore in March. COVID happened. It was pushed to July. COVID still happened, so they turned it into a virtual event instead of an offline event. And it was an amazing experience. The engagement was still there. We got to address people's questions, and the things that we talked about was very interesting. Gender quota. We talked about discrimination. We did talk about we talk a lot about diversity and inclusiveness in the workplace. We talked about the unconscious bias. And aside from the other normal women issues like work-life balance and stuff like that, but these are certain real issues that was raised, and I loved it. Why? Because they're all close to my heart, and I've experienced some level of discrimination. I've realized I have been biased also in the past, and as long as it's unconscious, we will not know that we are being a racist, we are discriminatory, we are biased, right? But as long as we are aware of it, that's where we can start to make a conscious decision on how we can reverse it, or you want to sustain it, because some people really want to keep a certain system so that they will always be in privilege, right? But I advocate the message of love and respect. Zil and I, we've been advocating this message of love and respect. Now we incorporate that in not just our corporate work, our coaching, our our message in public talks, to families, as well as in our social conscious business, helping refugees also. That same level of that same message that we apply when we talk to refugees. We always say, don't just limit. If you see a person from another community, whether they're non-Muslim or whether they're a different sect or whatever it is, and they're hungry, they are in need, don't look at their color, don't look at their family background. Just help the person out, right? So we're strong advocates in that. But I would also like to hear from some of you out there who's watching this. What have you experienced personally? Because some people are not aware that this is happening because they are in a privileged position, right? But if you can share your experience, you can PM me. If you're not shy about it, you want to post it in the comment, please do so. But I would love to hear some of your take and some of your personal experiences, because this will all be written down in my book that I'm working on. Okay, it's out there. I'm working on my book, and I have been changing the topic of my book for many years, and it's still in the making. But there's a lot of stories, a lot of lessons that we all can learn from that, and I would love to hear from some of you. If you want to be featured in my book, I would welcome that. Please PM me. All right. Now, the question that I have for you: what have you experienced in terms of facing discrimination because of your gender, because of the way you look, because of how you dress, because of how you your skin color, your religious background? I would love to hear that. And the reason, because it's not for us to complain and whine, because I've programmed my mind. If there is a problem, let's focus on the solution and what we can do about it, instead of complaining and whining, because that is so unattractive, that is so not cool, right? And that's not something I would want anyone to just dump your complaints to others, right? We are people, this new group of people that we are all becoming, this new awareness, you can call it what, COVID-19 or post-COVID-19. We are people who are deep-rooted in how we see things, the way things were, and what we need to change, all right? So I'm just going to share a little bit of my experiences, but I will actually write this down. It will be written and shared, and it will be something that we all can work on, not to complain or not to whine about it, but to take radical responsibility and inspired action so that we all will make better changes in the world in the future. For me personally, the hijab is one thing, whether it is with the hijab or without the hijab. I have been publicly commented on the way I dress in a corporate environment, okay? And this is from a space of me leading the training. I've got somebody, and it comes from a man who told me, saya tak suka cara puan pakai tudung, you know, that sort of thing. And it means, if you're non-Malay speaker, I don't like the way you wear your hijab, right? Because before I fully put on, and for me, I love my hijab. I've been wearing this for I think at least full on for 5 years or more. But it is not something that I've worn, and I've also had my issues about it for many years. I wore it halfway, took it off, that sort of thing. And that's why I don't judge people on whether they feel like, you know, they're not aligned or something. It is a process, right? But we believe, yes, it is part of our Islamic beliefs, right? And I struggled with that for many years, and I have been told off because of that. I've been rejected also because I was not putting on the hijab properly, okay? So, and it was outright. It has been some people said it out in public in front of me to the others with the purpose of embarrassing me, you know. So I know how that felt. So that's why this message of love and respect is so important in the way we conduct ourselves, because you don't know the person who didn't wear the hijab, or who used to dress sexy, or who used to wear a half hijab or something like that, could actually fully embrace it. You just don't know, right? So I've gone through that process. So that's why I told myself I'm not going to do that to others, right? And the other thing I've ever experienced before of people telling me in the working world, corporate world, during a meeting, say, oh, Mushida, you are not like a typical Malay. All right. So what is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? Oh, you're not a typical Malay. What is a typical Malay? Or what is a typical woman? I have no idea what is typical, right? So I have been told that too. So again, that when it has happened to you, you know how it feels like. So that's why I don't want to do that to others. I advocate that message of love and respect, so this does not happen to others as well. How does that feel when somebody says, oh, you're not like a typical Malay, and they meant it in a good way, right? So these are things this is what we call the unconscious bias. People say it as in, oh, you know, it is a compliment, you're so amazing, you're not a typical Malay, or you're not a typical XYZ race, or you're not a typical woman, or not how does it feel like if someone says you're not a typical human, right? So it is again that biasness that sometimes we are unconscious about, and we think we are giving someone a compliment. So these are things that I would love you to be aware of, because in some point in your life, each and every one of you are in a privileged position. I have been in a privileged position where I'm the majority, I am the leader, I create the rules and regulations. I have been there, and I have been at the level of I would say more vulnerable, or in terms of being a follower, right? So I've also experienced that kind of comments, you know, and in workplaces I've also heard. And I've also experienced it when people tell me in front, oh, you girls, they're calling women in the corporate environment, you girls. So how does that also make you feel as a woman in doing business, working for a same common cause or purpose, to be labeled as you girls, you girls do this, you girls can do this, you know, you girls are good at this, you know. So again, it's not, I was not a student, I was working in a corporate environment, and people addressed me and also my colleagues, amazing colleagues, as you girls. So things like this, What have you experienced? And I'd like you to share it with me, because these are things that people must be aware, so they stop it and they start to speak with more love and respect. They start to speak with more and they don't allow that to also let other people talk down to them because of that. I've got a whole string of experiences of all of this, you know, whether it is in a Islamic environment even, or whether it's in a Malay speaking environment, whether it is in a Western environment, and I've experienced that. So these are things that once we are aware, we make a conscious decision to stop it and reword the way we look at people, rethink the way we look at other people, the way we look at other genders. That is how we all can work better together. We all come together as humans with a common purpose. We do good through the work and the life that we have, the breath that we have right now. We do good with this while we are still alive on earth. And that's how we all can live with love and respect. So do send me a PM. I would love to have a certain quote, a certain story, a certain experience. And we would like to start to instill in organizations, in leadership positions, in families, in relationships between you and your spouse, in parenting, in being children to our parents as well. What can we all change and do better so that we all can change consciously and start working on this? Each and every one of us work on this, and that is how we can consciously change the world towards the better. All right, so that's my message today. That's a little bit of a request from each and every one of you. I hope you all send me a PM what experience you had where you felt discriminated or biased, and let's focus on the solutions and how we all of us around the world can do better. Yeah, lots of love and respect to each and every one of you, and happy weekend. Bye. Assalamualaikum.